A neighbourhood police team in Sheffield says that its push to be more visible in the community is having huge benefits in tackling crime and antisocial behaviour. In fact, last month the Southie area of Sheffield recorded its lowest antisocial behaviour and crime figures in 4 years because they were being more visible. Simon Thaker's been out with the neighbourhood police officer, Sergeant Scott Sarson.
Hello, I'm Scott Sarson, Police Sergeant 1123. I'm the neighbourhood sergeant for the Southie ward in the north east of Sheffield.
And Scott, I'm in a privileged position because I've been allowed to tag along with you today, and I'm making you talk whilst you drive as well, so we'll be very careful. Is there anything unique about Parson Cross? Is antisocial behaviour an issue here more than other areas of the city?
I mean, you can always compare areas, can't you? And so they're all different in many ways, but ASB in this area historically has been an issue, and it did before my time.
What is that?
It's got a relatively deprived background historically. Large secondary schools, one of which we're just driving back past on the right there. And then a lack of maybe police ownership. Like I said, there were no neighbourhood teams for a while, which had allowed that ASB base just to expand, and if it's not gripped early on, it just keeps going. It just grows and grows and grows, and can get quite serious where it becomes beyond ASB and starts becoming disorder. And we're not just going after kids, we speak to kids, we try and educate kids, because sometimes I think there is just a lack of understanding on their part and education of what they're doing causes implications for others. So we really try to engage with kids. We've got different schemes. So Sheffield Wednesday Community Programme, for example, that takes place on that school just behind us there on Chaucer. We really get involved with that, really engage with that, because that puts us in touch with what is now about 100 kids every Wednesday that attend that session. From that, we build up relationships with them kids, and then we'll see them kids out in the parks or on the streets, and they'll not say it's that cop, they'll say, hey, it's you from football.
Can I step in, Lewis?
Yeah, if you just watch all the bits of shrapnel.
In the middle of Parson Cross Park is Lewis. He's working away on the allotment club. They were vandalised recently by local teenagers. Scott and the team sorted that out. They're big fans of his neighbourhood team.
The police do so much work out there. I mean, most people wouldn't envy being a police officer. Not with the things that they have to deal with and the crimes they have to investigate. And we don't see that as the public. It's going on every day, every single minute of the day, but we don't see it. So having a bit of visibility from the police officers and the PCSOs as well really does help, and really helps get the message out that the police are actually working really hard on our behalf.
Bye, have a high five. Yeah, thanks, mate. Elsewhere in the park, Lenny is on the way to the playground with his son Jaitlin. He thinks the police presence in the park is a positive change, but says it could be detrimental too.
If I come to the park and say every day I come to the park and I see a police officer in the park, obviously I'm going to think, oh, maybe this area is like an area that's got like lots of like criminals or lots of bad people, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so obviously I wouldn't want to come here like lots. Because there are police officers here all the time.
You can walk and talk. Are you in a bit of a rush?
No, it's okay. I'm just going to sit down for a second because my house is just behind the park.
Ah, okay. Someone new to Southie is Aya. She's recently moved from Kent and says she's become aware of problems with antisocial behaviour.
It's just like groups of people together. It's kind of intimidating. I think I just have a little bit of anxiety about it.
So what sort of things have you seen, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, just rowdy behaviour, things that... I think I'm a young girl, things that kind of intimidate me, especially from males.
Yeah.
You know, I think that kind of behaviour sometimes can just intimidate you or put you off from going out into that specific area. Like, I do think that having, like, police patrolling, anything around that feels quite good. Yeah.
One of the small changes that Scott introduced was handing out his card with his mobile phone number on it. So business owners, concerned parents, or even young people could call him any time.
You'll probably see it while you're walking around with things start ringing and buzzing constantly with different issues, but to achieve long-term problem solving and keep the sort of base level of crime and ASB low in this area, then that's the only way we can be fully sighted on things that are going off. Because some people historically stopped reporting low-level stuff through 101 because they couldn't get through. It was taking them an hour, so they were gearing up. By making us accessible as we are with the numbers, by the different engagement schemes that we have, it just brings that back in-house to us and just allows us again, because if we don't see that information, then we can lose a situation before we even have a chance to address it. So it just gets us to the incidents, and hopefully for the public, it just gives them the trust that somebody is there, somebody's listening and somebody cares. No matter what the incident is, we will speak to them and we'll try and address it.
Scott Sarson there doing fantastic work down on Southie, Simon Thing with him there. You heard Scott mention some of the other people that he's been working with. One thing that he mentioned was the Sheffield Wednesday Community Programme at Chaucer. Well, Paul Hebder is the lead there. Morning, Paul.
Morning.
So tell us about the scheme that you run.
So yeah, every Wednesday we run a football session up at Chaucer School, and it's just a session for positive engagement, really. Just to try and get young people off the streets, engaging in some football activities and positive activities.
And it's easy for people to believe the stereotypes about kids, isn't it? And I probably did to a degree until I had teenagers myself and therefore met quite a lot of them. And actually, no matter where you go, broadly, teenagers are the same everywhere. They're just good kids, aren't they, most of them?
Yeah. Like saying that stereotype around young people. Most of them just want to do something positive, really. Yeah. But I think nowadays there's not that many places for young people to go where they can, like, play football or get involved in some positive activities for free, or that's openly accessible, really.
Yeah, so it's things like you that focuses the mind. And while they're playing football, they're not on the streets, are they?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think from what people are saying in the area with like ASB, sometimes it is just young people just being about, and they think, oh, young people are about in groups, so they must be getting up to no good. But like saying, the activities that we've got running, it gets the young people off the streets. I think it helps members of the public to feel a bit more safer, that young people are hanging around the areas. And going back to the initial thing is that, yeah, it gives young people something to do positively, and we get to build that relationship with the young people. Young people see us as like not teachers, not local authorities, just our football coaches, really. So we can build a really positive relationship with the young people, and then we can support to educate the young people, and then break down them barriers as well that they might have with local authorities such as the police.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Is what difference do you make in kind of being that bridge between the people themselves, the young kids themselves, and people like Scott, who, you know, we as adults know that at the weekend that uniform's not on and he's just Scott, but some people might just see him as a Bobby.
Yeah, no, we've had some great case studies of the past, just with Scott's team coming up to the session. So one example, another day that we wasn't in the area delivering the sessions, Scott and his local team were just walking around, I think at the back of Asda car park, where I think a group of young people were just hanging around. And instead of the young people running away thinking, oh, the police are really coming to get us, straight away they've recognised Scott and his team from coming up to the sessions. And then they've just hung around and they've had a chat with the police, and the police have been able to have a chat with them and just say, look, just be a bit mindful about what you're doing. Members of the public might be complaining because they think you might be loitering around the area. And then the young people straight away respect the police a lot more and will respond a lot more positively.
And we do have to remember, don't we, as people who've got a few years on the clock, groups of kids do have the right to stand around and be a group of kids. You know, they're socialising sometimes, aren't they? They're not meant to be locked up, are they?
No, definitely. And there's one of those, especially like with COVID recently, but there's one of those things, like I remember when I was a young person sat on PlayStation or something, my parents were always like, oh, why don't you get out and about? But then you get out and about and then people are like, oh, young people are loitering around. So sometimes it is like a lose-lose situation for young people. But having that option of the activities that ourselves are running, it gives them another dynamic and another something else to attend.
Good man, thank you very much indeed, Paul. It sounds great work that's been done there by Sheffield Wednesday Community Programme. And like I do every time whenever you mention a football club that's doing great work in the community, they really all do this, you know. See, I don't know that we shout about it enough. All your clubs do spend a lot of time in the community, which is brilliant of them. Jane Dunn is one of the local Labour councillors for Southey. Morning, Jane.
Good morning, Toby.
ASB obviously is an issue. This seems to be, and tell me if I'm wrong, please, South Yorkshire Police tackling it in quite a positive way.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I was there right at the very beginning, back in 2018, as Scott said, when we started a close relationship with the police, partnership working, bringing community safety and the police into the council, so that we could really look at this across everything, from housing to school attendance, to, you know, absolutely the whole broad range. And this is the outcome, as you can see. But, I mean, Scott is unbelievable. I mean, he's been there for 6 years, and I must pay tribute to him because he didn't mention it. He got Leader of the Year award earlier this year.
Fantastic.
For his work. But him and his team, exactly as the guy from Sheffield Wednesday just said, I regularly, I haven't been out this year as yet, but will be doing, with the police, and we go around on the walkabout, and I can actually back up what he said. You know, the kids on the streets, the neighbours, everybody, they know who Scott is, and he's not seen as a Bobby that's there to, you know, to tell them off. He's part of the community.
And you can't overplay that, can you? When Paul was saying there about the group of kids behind Asda up at Chaucer there, who'd seen Scott and his team and not run off. That's, I mean, that is such a move forward, isn't it?
And it's taken this length of time to build that relationship. It's like my relationship with, you know, with my constituents. It's learning to trust, you know. When I've gone round and we've popped in and they've been talking about issues with maybe a neighbour who's got very complex needs, the fact is they know that you're going to take that away, you know, and deal with it. You can't always tell the neighbour private things that are happening with somebody across the road, but they trust that you're going to be doing that. And that takes time. And it needs, you know, the investment into the police, and I'm really pleased that the Police and Crime Commissioner has taken this so seriously as well, without a shadow of a doubt. And it's that close working with our council housing team.
Jane, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. That's Councillor Jane Dunn there. All sounds like some very positive stuff going off down at Southey. And congratulations to Scott Sarson on the award that he won but didn't tell us about in his piece. Thank you very much indeed. It's Toby at Breakfast.